Action research is an important and interesting type of research in social sciences. As the name suggests, generally action research is research that takes place during action or during the process of implementation of something. Action research, in contrast to the other scientific forms of research, is research that is generally conducted not by theoreticians but by practitioners. The basic aim of action research is actually the improvement of practice rather than the development of theory. Like other practitioners in other fields, action research has been usefully used in the educational context by practitioners, including teachers. So, in this brief presentation, we will discuss what is the importance of action research for teachers as educational practitioners, or in what ways action research actually helps teachers in understanding and improving their practice as teachers. So the first thing that makes action research important for teachers is that action research helps teachers in reflecting on their practices as teachers. So the action research gives teachers the opportunity to reflect on their role as teachers, to reflect on the practices that they do inside or outside the classrooms, and in order to understand and improve those practices. So critically thinking about their practices as teachers is something in which action research helps teachers. Independence. Secondly, generally practitioners, including teachers, are dependent on understanding their professions and understanding their subjects on academic researchers. But action research actually helps practitioners, including teachers, to become independent in terms of coming up with their own practical kind of theories, or theories that they can develop during their practice and then they can implement. So as a result, they become more independent in terms of trying to understand and find solutions to the problems that they face during their teaching learning roles. Then this helps in the professional development of the teachers. So the teachers themselves look critically at their roles, they conduct smaller researches, they get insights into it, and all of this process, they question their roles and their practices, and all of this actually helps in the professional development of the teachers. Their thinking about their practices does not remain static but continuously develop, and so they also develop their professional repertoires as a result of the insight that they get through action research. The next thing in which action research is useful for teachers is the theory-practice interaction. So the teachers who involved in the process of action research actually become better at the use of theory in practical sense, or in terms of developing theories through their action researches that they then implement in their practices. And so there is a better theory-practice interaction when teachers have insights into the process and into the aims of action research. The next thing is the localized or contextual understanding of issues and problems and situations. So what happens is that action research helps teachers in exploring their issues, their problems in a local contextualized way, and so their understanding of their issues or the factors that impact their practices is more contextual and more localized. So we can say the knowledge that they get through action research is more real or related to their day-to-day practices. And so this is how action research is helpful for teachers. Then, as we know, that teachers make several decisions almost in every class and every day. Decision making is a continuous process, is an integral part of the role of the teachers. In many cases, they might simply imitate others in order to make decisions. But in the case of action research, when they do smaller action research studies in order to make decisions, their decisions as classroom teachers, as educational leaders, as supervisors of the students, which are based on action research, are more informed, and because they have done that research at the local smaller level, at the classroom or school level. And so informed decision making is one of the outcomes of action research for teachers. Then collaboration. Generally, action research is not conducted by teachers individually or in isolation, but they actually involve other teachers, and in many cases the school administration, the parents, and in many cases other teachers and students as well. So as a result, action research helps teachers in developing collaboration among themselves, in developing collaborations and cooperation in the school context. And so this is another way in which we can say that action research is very important for teachers. Then practice evaluation. Action research helps teachers in continuously evaluating their practices, in continuously evaluating the teaching learning process, in continuously evaluating the teaching styles or the teaching methods that they use, continuously evaluating the way they interact with other colleagues, the way they interact with students. And so action research actually helps teachers in continuously evaluating their practices, that ultimately then leads to the process of identifying gaps or issues in their practices as classroom teachers. So what happens ultimately is that this process of evaluation leads to practice improvement. And so we can say that action research ultimately helps teachers in improving their practices, because their practices are more informed, because they continuously evaluate their practices as classroom teachers or as school teachers. And this helps in the development of collaboration. This helps in the development of finding insights into the theory-practice interaction. This helps in terms of understanding their practices in a local, contextualized manner, and ultimately the teachers become independent, reflective practitioners in their own profession. So what happens is that as a whole, the process of action research helps teachers become professionally more efficient and professionally more informed, and they look at their practices and their role as teachers more critically, and ultimately they become independent as teachers and as educational leaders.